All right, let's jump right in. We're looking at this year's State of Tax Professionals report, and wow, it shows an industry that's right in the middle of a massive shakeup. This one quote from the report it says it all, doesn't it? Technology isn't just some tool we use anymore. Nope. It's become the engine that's driving some really fundamental changes across the whole profession.
So with all that change happening, what are firm leaders actually focusing on? Well, the answer, it really points to a dramatic shift in how they're thinking.
Okay, check this out. For the last 3 years, it's been all about efficiency. Efficiency has been king, and yeah, it's still holding that top spot. But what's really fascinating here is the new kid on the block, the challenger that has absolutely rocketed up the charts.
Yep, you're seeing that right. Growth. It's jumped from 5th place all the way to number 2. And why is that? Well, it's pretty simple, really. Firms need cash. They need capital to fund this big race for better tech and to bring in the best talent. So, okay, we've got these firms with big, ambitious plans for growth, for investing in tech, but there's a problem. They are running smack into a massive wall.
So, what is that wall? Well, the report asks leaders a very direct question. What's the number one thing that's keeping you up at night? And let me tell you, the answer could not have been clearer.
A full 26%. Over a quarter of all firm leaders said their single biggest challenge is people. Hiring them, attracting them, and then, actually keeping them.
And this right here, this just perfectly illustrates the core conflict, doesn't it? Finding and keeping great people is still the number one challenge. But look what's breathing down its neck. The pressure to keep up with tax laws and, maybe even more importantly, to figure out all this new AI tech.
So you've got a people shortage. What do? Well, naturally, firms are turning to technology as the big strategic answer. But how is that actually playing out in the real world? Let's take a look.
Well, this chart tells a really interesting story. Automation is definitely happening, but man, it is far from being everywhere. I mean, look at this. Almost half of all firms have only automated about a quarter of their workflow, or even less. And get this, a pretty shocking 18% have zero automation at all.
And that brings us to the big dilemma. On one hand, firms are saying, hey, we just don't have the time or the resources to set up all this new automation. So what's their top tech priority? It's not buying shiny new toys, it's actually trying to get more juice out of the tools they've already paid for.
But there is one major exception to that use what you've got rule, and that exception is AI. Despite everything else, nearly half of all firms are saying that investing in artificial intelligence is a high priority for them over the next couple of years. So you see, tech isn't just changing how the work gets done, it's actually changing the work itself. It's fundamentally reshaping the role of the accountant. And this is absolutely crucial. A staggering 75%, 3/4 of clients, are saying loud and clear that they want more from their accountant. They want real tax and business advice, not just someone to prepare their forms. But, and this is a big but, here's the catch. Even with clients practically begging for advisory services, what's still paying the bills? For most firms, the most profitable work is still good old-fashioned tax prep.
So that puts every single firm at a major crossroads, right? You have to make a strategic choice. Do you stick with the traditional path because, hey, it's profitable? Or do you make the pivot and start meeting these new demands from your clients?
All of these pressures we've been talking about, the talent shortage, the tech race, the changing client demands, they're all combining to reshape the entire industry. And what's emerging are these really distinct tiers of firms, each facing a very different future.
Yeah, you can really see the industry splitting apart. You've got your small firms, basically in a street fight with DIY software. Then you have the mid-sized firms, and they're in this brutal battle to scale up and compete for bigger clients and better talent. And then at the top, you have the large firms, who have to pour money into innovation constantly just to keep their spot at the top of the mountain.
Which brings us to the final, and maybe the most critical question of all. As AI gets better and better at handling the routine stuff, the what is left for the human accountant to do in, say, 2030? Well, their value is going to shift completely. It's not about crunching the numbers anymore. It's going to be about analyzing them, interpreting them, and most importantly, advising their clients on the why behind it all.